This is the homepage of Sedai. You can see the top level is just giving an information on the application that Sedai is seeing. Since we support different cloud providers, we have abstracted it out into applications. In Kubernetes as well, this is going to be the workloads. Once Sedai has a couple of weeks of worth of data, it can start showing optimization opportunities that it is seeing. As we mentioned, we try to do optimizing multiple levels. We start with workload. We try to optimize all the workloads so that it is performing at its best with the lowest possible cost, and then compound that optimization that we have done, take it into infrastructure level, node optimization. On the top, what you're seeing is if you do all the workload optimization, node optimization, and the purchasing options suggestions that Sedai has, we could result almost a 66% monthly savings. What we are seeing here is we could reduce your monthly cost from $11,000 to almost $3,700. And the way we achieve is using clustering, node, and purchasing options. As you can see here, we are going through each individual workloads and figuring out optimization opportunities. This is based on the application behavior that it observes. So it looks at a big range of your application behavior, and it is doing it on a constant basis. Sedai understands the releases happening, and it actually re-evaluates its model. When the new release comes in, it actually accommodates that application behavior change that it's noticing. Based on that, it continuously keeps on recommending what would be the ideal right sizing for your workloads. As you can see, at an individual resource level, it finds opportunities on how to optimize. Second thing is, it takes all those workload optimization, it brings it into node level. The way Sedai recommends node level recommendation is using the different workloads. So it figures out what type of infrastructure needs each application has. Your cluster could be running heterogeneous workloads. Some applications might be memory intensive, some might be CPU intensive, some might be really dependent on the network input output. Using those information, Sedai actually tries to figure out what would be the ideal VM which suits your application. It has algorithm, it has ML models which actually projects what type of VMs would benefit best. In this case, the one that we are looking at is an AWS based cluster. It actually figures out what would be the right VMs which suits your workload. Of course, if you're using Fargate, I won't be able to actually recommend anything because you're going to choose with whatever Fargate is going to offer you. Depending on your cluster provider, we take those two recommendations and also see how we can actually benefit from purchasing options. It's going to give you a recommendation on how much cost savings you will get if you go with a 1-year complete savings plan or a 3-year. All these things it's calculating based on the projections that it's making. When you're dealing with workloads, you want to make sure one workload doesn't starve other workload. And there could be an incorrect configuration where the user has allocated less memory than it really needs. In such cases, your application will run into out of memory and Kubernetes will restart it. Sedai will be observing those kind of patterns and recommend you to actually change that one on a dynamic basis so that you don't run into all these issues. Let's take an example here. CPU limit is not set. So that means your application is probably going to hurt other applications. CPU usage approaching limits. In such cases, that means your application is probably going to run into throttles pretty soon based on application behavior. So Sedai looks at the past behavior of the application and tries to build a model out of it. If it sees that the application is constantly requiring more CPU than what it is already set, that means your configuration is probably incorrect. That incorrect configuration could result in availability issues. Either it could be CPU throttling or it could be out of memory, both of them, which is going to result in availability issues for the user.